Last week, LSU freshman Russell Shepard taught us about the greatness of Chick-fil-A and let us sit down with him during his favorite class at LSU. In this first installment of Russell Shepard All Access, we follow him into the weight room, and he tells us what former LSU Tiger made him feel like a middle schooler.
Because you'll see like two big-ass offensive linemen that go to this school. Like, you know, you see the biggest offensive lineman, and I mess with them all the time, like, and two of them on one little scooter. I was like, I struggle getting on one of them scooters with Richard Murphy, and let alone, you know, 200, 350 pounders, both over, you know, 6'5". Like the first time I seen, I got to throw Matt Flynn yesterday. Matt Flynn, when you see him, you know, you think, man, I can do that, I can throw this, I can throw that. When I threw at him, Matt Flynn made me look like I was still in middle school. I mean, he's just that type of quarterback. He's an amazing quarterback, and he just crazy. You know, if I had a penny for every time somebody asked me what position I'm gonna play, every day, you know, if I had a penny for what, you know, everybody asks me, I mean, I'll probably be a millionaire. I get a million questions. What position they gonna have you playing? You know, you have the group of people be like, oh my gosh, Russell, they don't believe it. You're gonna be an amazing quarterback. You're gonna this and that. You have the other group of people, you're gonna be this. Oh my gosh, Russell. Once they put you in a wildcat formation, you're doing the Percy Harvin type stuff. They're gonna be. I even had one dude say, you will be an amazing safety. I was like, safety. Where'd that come from? Love Coach Moffitt. Coach Moffitt is so intense. I've just found out that he's been offered NFL jobs, college jobs, but he would not leave Baton Rouge. I think he's been here longer than the coaching staff, I believe. I think
he was here.
When Saban was here. I mean, intense. To me, that's the other part of winning a national championship. Your strength coach. You get a good strength coach, somebody that can, you know, develop you and make you into the collegiate player. The coaches can coach you. They can teach you the techniques, but they don't, you know, I was kind of surprised because they're not involved in the process of, maturing your body and doing other different type of things. So it definitely was kind of different.
Hey, y'all done follow me around. Y'all have been to the academic center. You've been to the student union, as well as you've seen me tutoring. I'm about to go into this weight room, get a little bigger, and they say this is where the champions and legends are made. So follow me while we go in.
Bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Come on. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Yeah. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
VIP coming live from the VIP. Heard the nightlife, lost life without me. Most feds in the state wanna see by me. The whole city got pissed, heard he got.
Russell Shepard All Access will wrap up on Thursday with Part 4. We will now shift our focus to Tigers not yet on campus in this week's installment of the Recruiting Corner. National Signing Day is only 7.5 hours away, and the Tigers have locked down one of the best classes in school history, but still have some work to do locking down some big-time players. Starting with the players already committed to the Tigers, safety Craig Lawson, defensive tackle Chris Davenport, cornerback Jansen Jackson, and running back Michael Ford top the list of verbal commits. Ford has been flying under the radar after an injury kept him out of action his junior year. Ford rushed for almost 3,000 yards in his senior year and is rated as the #2 overall running back by Scout.com. Lawson is trying to break out of the shadow of his cousin and fellow LSU commit Russell Shepard. Lawson is described as a head-hunting safety in the mold of a former LSU Tiger, LaRon Landry. He is considered the top safety in the nation by ESPN and Rivals.com. Now moving on to players the Tigers are still pursuing. Bastrop wide receiver Ruben Randall, defensive end Sam Montgomery, linebacker Barkevius Mingo, and defensive end Jarvis Jones are still on the Tigers' radar. Randall is unanimously considered the top wide receiver prospect in the nation and one of the top players overall. Despite playing quarterback his senior year, he had a stellar week of practice at the Army All-American game at wide receiver and caught 5 passes for 75 yards in the game. The battle for Randall is down to LSU and Alabama. The other Louisiana prospect the Tigers are trying to keep in state is West Monroe's Barkevius Mingo. Mingo is a 4-star prospect according to Rivals.com and is a raw athlete who is still learning the linebacker position. For more analysis on National Signing Day, we'll now kick it over to Brian at the desk.
All right, thanks, Mary Claire. Here at Sports Showtime, we know the hottest topic on everybody's tongue, the recruiting battle and who's going who. So here at Sports Showtime, we brought in our own recruiting experts, Hobie Artigue and Tim Zimmer. How y'all doing, guys?
Doing all right.
All right, welcome to the show. Hobie, let's go ahead and jump into this. First question. Out of the players who've committed so far, who's going to make the biggest impact in 2009?
Well, Brian, I know that Russell Shepard's been the talk of the town since he arrived here at LSU, but I think that his cousin Craig Lawston has the potential to be the next big star next season. To me, the 6'2 safety will have the biggest impact out of any commit so far. When you look at it, the time couldn't be more perfect for him to come in and take a stand. With a very poor secondary last season, a new defensive coordinator in John Chavis coming in, as well as new D-back coach Ron Cooper, whose pass defense at South Carolina ranked number 2 in the nation last season, this is the right time for Lawson to come and show what he's got. And if he can be anything like true freshman Patrick Peterson last season, the future with this secondary with Lawson and a new coaching staff is as bright as can be.
All right, Tim, the first player Hobie mentioned was Russell Shepard. He's like a godsend to LSU fans this year. It's what everybody's talking about. How big of an impact do you think he's going to have on the field?
Well, Russell Shepard will not only make an impact, but could possibly make game-changing performances. Russell Shepard's ability to make plays will be the biggest impact. Les Miles will use Shepard at quarterback, wide receiver, and possibly running back. With Jordan Jefferson's speed and agility, defense will not just key on Shepard. I think Shepard will be on the field to make mismatches as well as clear out coverage for LaFell and Scott. I expect Shepard to not only make big plays, but be a decoy as well.
All right, Tim, great point. Hobie, out of the players left on the big board, the uncommitted players, who do we have to nail down? Who do we have to see on the field next year for LSU?
Oh, Brian, it's got to be Ruben Randall out of Bastrop. The Tigers cannot let this guy slip out of the state. And the reason LSU cannot lose him is simple. Where will the offense be a year from today? After next season, the Tigers virtually have no potential heir to step up at wide receiver behind Brandon LaFell. I think that Randall is a guy that has size and the physicality to come in and make some noise, but under LaFell's wing, he will be Mr. Clutch for future seasons. They compare this guy to last year's freshman phenom Julio Jones from Bama. Now, Julio Jones was thrown into the number 1 receiver position for the Crimson Tide, and he still had an excellent season. Now, if Randall comes here and he has LaFell to show him the ropes, in the long run, Randall will pass Julio Jones as the dominant SEC wideout.
All right, Tim, do you think the Tigers will end up winning that mythical recruiting national title tomorrow?
Well, as of today, the Tigers are ranked in the top 3 in all recruiting sites. If the Tigers can land a few blue-chip recruits, then without a doubt the Tigers will claim the number 1 recruiting class. A couple of players have to fall on the Tigers on Wednesday. First, Ruben Randall. I've talked about it for days now that if he puts the LSU hat on, then the Tigers will finish no less than number 2 in recruiting. And a few things could happen as well. If the Tigers can swing the commitment of Trent Richardson, Darren Miles, and Kendall Kelly, then they should look fine. Richardson, to me, will be the big surprise commitment if he decides to put on an LSU hat. 2 guys that are trying to steal are Jarvis Jones and Darrington Stenimore. The odds are against the Tigers here, but if they end up with one of those players, it would improve our recruiting class to the number 1 spot.
All right, guys, thanks for coming on the show talking. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. You keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully we come out on top tomorrow. All right, coming up after the break, head coach Dee Dee Bro will sit down and give us an inside look at her gymnastics team. Don't touch that remote. You're watching Tiger TV, Sports Showtime.